Hey, everybody, it's Kat, and I want to welcome you to this episode of Backstory Sessions. I'm joined today by my co host, Matt. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Kat. Hey, everyone. How are you?
Well, happy Father's Day.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's now a big day for dads.
Yeah, out there grilling and chilling and doing all the things that I guess they do on Father's Day. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw something that was saying, like, on Mother's Day, like, restaurants are packed, and on Father's Day, it's like grill something.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
And the dad has to grill.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, I don't know. In a way, I think dads like that deep down. So
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't mind it.
yeah. So I mean, because you and Justin could go join a restaurant, for Father's Day. I don't know. I don't know if they have the same kind of specials as Mother's Day. I don't really think not as many. Like you're not gonna get probably a rose or something like that.
Yeah, I'm guessing that.
I mean, a screw. I don't know. Do they give anything out to dad? I don't really know. But
Probably alcohol or something. I don't know.
well, my dad was always, Cracker Barrel. That's where we were going. That was his favorite. So,
Oh, yeah, the meatloaf.
yes, yes, he had to have that. So,
Yeah.
really, he was content to get that and get his presents. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, Father's Day for me is, I don't know that I typically celebrated it. I mean, because it's right around my birthday, so, I mean,
Yes.
yeah. So it kind of all runs together. It's like having your birthday like right before Christmas.
Yes, it is a little bad to have that birthday next to a holiday because then you kind of get, a little bit less celebrations or both of them lumped together.
Yeah, both of them lumped together is usually what happens. I mean, and in actuality, it should be two separate events, but, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
It's all fine.
Well, we should start a petition or something because you need your full birthday celebration.
Yes, of course.
Well, this is our Father's Day edition. A very interesting one, too, because it's the first time that we have talked to three young people all on one episode.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It will be interesting, or has been interesting. Not will be. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I think there's something interesting about interviewing, youngers, the littles as I call them in the play, but they're not really the littles, but just in comparison, I mean, like comparison to us, they're
Well,
the
we're
little,
old, so yeah.
yes, old littles.
All right.
But I mean, I will say that they had a lot of insight, I thought, for their age.
Yeah, for sure. They're all pretty interesting, and they've had a lot of experiences that at a young age that were pretty cool.
I know, a lot of stories. And so,
Yeah,
um,
one of them was on Ellen, and the other one of them, I don't know, he met a bunch of presidents.
yeah, so, two of them actually were on the Ellen show.
Oh.
Uh, and one was on the was with Twitch, like with that
Mm-hmm.
segment.
Yep.
And then the other one, if you remember on Ellen, the girl that knew all the presidents and all that, Macy,
Mm.
so Reed got to be friends with her. So there's two little, they're going to run together for president, I hear,
There you go.
or vice president. I don't know how that part's going to work, but
Mm.
I guess it's like I only know these kids through the play,
Mm-hmm.
and because we're virtual, I had never met Reed in person until the actual play itself. So, so I really, I guess, in the way that the Tri-County Mystery Meets works, like you know them, people virtually for practice or, in the chat, that kind of thing. But,
Hmm.
just to know like what they thought about things was very interesting to me because in that way, they're really just like any other guests that we had for the first time, where you're starting kind of with a blank slate and how you think, that it's going to be framed, but it doesn't always turn out like that.
Yeah, that's true. It was, they certainly had a wide range of experiences and, views on things. So it was
Yeah.
pretty cool. And
And
then
I,
had
well,
you, I
go
guess,
ahead.
sorry, I guess we should mention Dalton.
Yeah. So, we did interview Dalton. Unfortunately, the, the day or two before the performance, he was not, so he had an injury that they're having to check out more, and so he was not given permission by the doctor to participate, so he had to be kind of immobile, I guess.
Yeah.
And so always when that happens, like, from the director point of view, it's always mass panic, like, okay, now what do we do?
Right.
But just for Dalton, and he's so talented and he was so looking forward and we were looking forward to his performances. So you know it's just was a hard time for that, to get that news, because part of me has to think about the show must go on and how that's going to happen.
Right.
I'm not heartless, of course, so I
You gotta be
so
here.
and I'm yeah, I mean, really, I'm a very compassionate person, I think, and certainly could relate to, how scary it must be to, not know if you're going to have surgery or if you are going to have surgery, or,
Right.
just all of that. And then also just like missing out on something that you worked so hard for. So, my heart goes out to Dalton for that. And he definitely was missed at the performance. But the good thing about it, the writing at least, is that, we write our own script. So, I had options. We could combine his part, give the lines to a couple of the other characters.
Hmm.
We could cut some lines. We could get someone to stand in as a reader, like sort of understudy type,
Right.
and, just announce to the audience that that person will be filling in and we'll have a script and, due to unforeseen circumstances.
Hmm.
And so that's the option we went with, just having someone to fill in like that.
Yeah. And then we have to mention Alexis because she's on the podcast, and what struck me as interesting with her is she's only 9, I believe.
Yes, 9 years old.
Yeah, so she's out there acting and singing and playing music, and yeah,
Yeah, the harp at that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, most kids would be like, "I want to play the recorder or something."
Beating on a drum.
Yeah, yeah. Play guitar.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's amazing. Very fascinating to me because, and especially in interviewing her, like you would never guess that she just turned 9. I mean, she's like barely left 8.
Wow.
So she's like very wise, I think. She comes across very articulate, and I think what they said about their dads, like there's just a lot of good stuff in this for Father's Day, but also, just of like wisdom, like insight into how they see the world and their their goals and that kind of thing. I found to be very, very inspiring, and
Yeah.
it gives me hope for the future to know that, to know that we have these amazing young people because, oftentimes like us being, the old ones,
Right. Yeah.
whatever, like you hear things like kids don't want to work these days,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
they're lazy, they don't know, they couldn't survive, all
Right.
these things. But it's very refreshing to know that I think these three would be fine no matter.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there.
So good job, kids.
And good job, parents.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And, dads in particular are spotlighted on here, but,
Yeah.
uh, their moms are all incredible too.
Yeah.
So I probably get to know the parents more so than the kids in a, just in the regular way that it works because, that like Alexis, for instance, doesn't have Facebook, because some of them are too young yet
Right. Yeah.
to even be old enough to be allowed to have it. So it was very interesting for me, and I'm so glad that we did the episode. And I think that everybody's going to really love these kids. And they did have the performance last night, like the whole cast, because the rest of it's made up of adults, but it was very well received. Like people laughed, people had a good time,
People
and
cried.
yes, cry, cry too. And but if you missed that performance, we will be at the so London, Kentucky, that is, the London Children's Museum, and that's July 27th, 7 o'clock. And, it's going to be another great show. So you can look on Eventbrite and get a ticket because there is only a limited number available. And once they're gone, you know, so is Corporate Kindergarten. So you don't want to miss it.
Oh, that's the only other event you're doing with that one.
Yes, yes. So we opened, in Barberville and closed in London. And in between that, we have boxes. And, we are going to be having two of the actors from boxes. They're adult actors
Hmm.
and very adult play, but, adult in that it's a emotional,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, type play.
Yeah.
So that's going to kick off July 13th. So, and now we got auditions for the August show. Will be starting the end of this month. So, Tri County Mystery Meets is really busy.
Yeah. It sounds like it. I mean, you got lots going on. That's good. I mean,
Yeah.
better.
If nobody wanted you,
Yeah. Hmm.
you know, that would be a problem. So, I'm really impressed with the young people that we have, and I can't wait for everyone to just know that these are incredible humans outside of their immense talents.
All right. Well, let's talk to them and, we'll see what all they have to say.
Well, one thing I do think we should point out is that, you know, they were traveling.
Oh, yeah. 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 I forgot all about that. So, Reed, when we started the interview with him and he was traveling somewhere with his mom, I believe, and he got dropped off the call, and which, it happens at times. And then Alexis, who was, she wasn't there at the beginning of the interview, so she kind of dropped in about the same time that Reed dropped out. so, so there is that. And then we were able to talk to Reed again later on in the week, and we interviewed him kind of separately. So that'll be at the end of the episode.
Yeah, so I think that's good for people to know that, the way the way the format is would not normally be the way the format is. But, these kids, as you will hear, like they're very involved. So they've got busy schedules. And just like the other people we interview, we just take them how we get them. And
Yeah.
when we get them, we're like, all right, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do.
Well, you got to make allowances for things. I mean, people are busy and we try and fit them in so we can tell our stories.
Yeah. Well done.
All right. Well, all right. So, yeah, well, happy Father's Day, everyone, and all you dads out there. And we will let this interview roll and see how it goes.
Well, Dalton and Reed, I want to welcome you to Backstory Sessions today. We're really excited to have you as our guest.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, well, it's our pleasure. It's not often that we get to talk to young actors, and so we can't wait to learn more about you and about Corporate Kindergarten. So, Dalton, let's start with you. For the listeners, just give us a little brief overview of who you are and, what interests that you have, how you got into acting.
Well, my name is Dalton Dailey. I am 13 years old. I live here in Rockholes, Kentucky, which is right in between Corbin, Williamsburg, and Barberville. I really enjoy singing, dancing, acting, and playwriting. I'm starting to get into playwriting. I've only wrote one,
After my own heart there, and Matt, you would agree with that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
and I got into acting actually. So Union College, which is in Barberville, was hosting a production of High School Musical, and I was not honestly expecting to get a role because I had never acted before in my life. I'd never done anything like that, and I went, and I guess they liked me because I got one of the lead roles. And that's what really got me into acting. And ever since then, I've just loved to get up, get on stage and show people what I can do.
Okay, Reed, let's hear about you. Do you have a similar kind of backstory?
Yeah, I'm Reed Elliotte. I'm 14. I live in Corbin, Kentucky. And since it's Father's Day, I want to give a shout out to my dad because he was my donor when I had a kidney transplant when I was 2.5. And when I was 6 years old, I had cancer twice. The second time, the Lord just healed me without any chemo. So in 2021, I got into this acting school called Spotlight in Berea, Kentucky. And I started from there. And then oh, they, let's see, I think they advertised a thing to audition for Hollywood, to go to Hollywood. And so I did that, and I was able to go January 2022 for a week, and it was absolutely amazing. And now I have a talent manager and an agent out of Hollywood. So I'm blessed for that, and I really enjoy acting and singing, and I just came out with my first gospel CD called Plowboy.
Wow. So, you see, Matt, we have quite the talented young men with us today.
Yeah, I see that. That's awesome.
Well, guys, you are in this latest production of Tri County Mystery Meats called Corporate Kindergarten. And you, as I understand it, portray adults. And, you're still young yourself. Although, I was thinking about it, like you really are almost in between being an adult and being in kindergarten. So, how do you approach the challenge of playing someone older because you haven't been older yet? So, Reed, let's start with you this time.
So I've always been an old soul, and I love to be around adults. And I feel like I've really learned from being around adulthood, like people that's adults. I feel like I've really learned how to be one. And And I really like, let's see. Yeah, ever since I was a baby, loved adults, and that's actually the people I hang out with most. So I really love them. Oh,
So was there a specific adult that you patterned your character after?
can you repeat that, please?
Yes. So first, I guess, let's talk about who is your character. Tell us about who you're playing. Okay. Dalton, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. So, Dalton, same question for you. What is it like playing and preparing for a role where you haven't lived that experience yet? You haven't been an adult yet. So, how did you prepare for that?
Well, honestly, kind of like what Reed said, I have been told by multiple people that I am an old soul, and I am around a lot of older people, you know, and I just really enjoy, sitting by a campfire with, you know, my grandparents, my great grandparents, uncles, and I just sit there and I listen, always talk less, listen more for me when I do that. And that is really how I have prepared myself. I mean, I feel like I've been preparing for this my whole life. I've always been around adults. I've worked with adults, for my other productions I've been in when I was on Ellen, Kelly Pickler. I've always been working around adults, and I just feel like that's what has really prepared me for this role.
Awesome. And I believe that we have now been able to add Alexis with us. Hey, Alexis.
Hi.
We're so happy to have you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into acting.
So, really, I did a lot of acting in my school because there's a lot of drama classes. But when my mom was going on Facebook, she saw the Tri-County Mystery Meets, and I'm pretty sure that she wanted me to act in it.
Yeah, and we're really glad that you did because this is your third performance with the Tri-County Mystery Meets, right?
Yeah.
So, what is it like playing a character that is an adult and you haven't been an adult yet? So, what's that like?
Um, I it's it's not really normal since I'm still 9 years old and I have to act an adult character. But since I'm usually around adults a lot, it's getting pretty easy to act like an adult.
What have you noticed about adults, like what characteristics that you
Um,
put into your bring to your character?
that like some adults can have different characteristics, such as like probably the bossy type or like you know.
I wonder who she's talking about.
So is your character, what is your character one of those bossy adults?
Well, my character actually acts like Entree because Entree is like she's like a sassy type of adult, I'm pretty sure. Like she cares about like doing her nails and not missing her hair appointments and stuff.
Yeah. And so you sort of take those characteristics on. Interesting. Reed, do we have you back? Okay, apparently not. So, Dalton, I'm going to ask the next question for you then. It, if you had the chance, would you go back to kindergarten for a day, or would you move into the future and be an adult for the day?
I would most definitely go back to kindergarten.
All right, so what was kindergarten like for you?
Well, honestly, I'm a very talkative person. I'm sure you've, kind of saw that over Zoom and over meeting me. And so kindergarten was honestly, I was always kind of in trouble because I was always talking, but I had really good teachers. So, in trouble meant more like, hey, quit talking, much less like, getting in trouble with parents or whatever. But yeah, in kindergarten, I never really had like, we didn't really take naps or anything. I don't remember. I remember the school lunch at the kindergarten I went to was really good. And I can't remember ever having a bad experience in kindergarten. I just always remember it being fun, because they're trying to make learning fun in kindergarten, I feel like. So, yeah, about my kindergarten experience.
Was your kindergarten teacher like any of the corporate kindergarten teachers?
Honestly, yes. She was very much like Alexys, like she said. She was sassy, but she could also be very nice, which I feel like also shows in Alexis's character in corporate kindergarten.
I do too. I do see that, softer, nurturing side of her and as well. So I think that's interesting. Alexys, the same question for you. If you could go back for a day to kindergarten or you could move a day for adulthood, which way would you go?
I'd honestly have a day to go back in kindergarten because since of the pandemic, I've actually not been able to attend kindergarten. So I've skipped kindergarten. So I've not really had a chance to see what kindergarten was like.
Oh, and so you imagine that you might like to spend a day there and see what it was actually would have been like.
Yeah.
Do you think about that in the play? I mean, does kindergarten seem like fun? I know you're the teacher of it, so you probably have a different perspective, but do you think the day seems pretty fun for those kids?
Honestly, yeah, but if like there's a really mean kindergartner, that would probably ruin the other kids' day.
Yes. So, what is it like having to deal with Trace in the play, who is, kind of a bully?
Um, really, it probably would be probably easy to deal with Trace, but depends how mean he is.
Yeah. Because right now, what are some things that he does that are, not very nice?
Like, in the first part where he pushes Dixie out of like the chair, that's one thing. And then the other thing is like messing with like Wyatt's name.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah. So, the punishments are not too severe in corporate kindergarten. Do you feel bad as a teacher having to do the discipline?
Like half of me, like I feel like 50% of me feel sad for them, but the other half I don't because I really think that the bully deserved to be in timeout because of what he did to the other kids.
Ah, I see. Well, Dalton, you are the principal. So,
I like the sound.
basically the whole school is your responsibility. How are you feeling about discipline of the, kids that are doing things maybe they should not be?
Well, I definitely feel like there is a part where I do come off a little bit strongly, but honestly, that really, I don't necessarily feel bad because I have little brothers and sisters, and I understand, you have a whole school that you're running. I'm gonna guess that my character is probably somewhere around sixth, seventh grade. So I can understand that, because my little brother and sister, they stress me out. So I could definitely understand him having a very stressful day, a very stressful life at that point, because he's got 1,900 kindergartners, and we don't, play doesn't necessarily say it, but I'm inferring from it that there were probably other kids in the building. That's just kind of my inference. So I feel like it'd be very stressful. I don't really, like I said, I don't really feel bad with the disciplinary action that I take.
Do you like being the principal?
Yes, very much.
Does that surprise you, like going into it? Had you ever thought about what it would be like to be the principal?
Honestly, there was a one point in my life where I had a teacher that I absolutely adored her. She was amazing, and she was working to be a principal. And at that point, obviously, kindergartner. It was first grade, and she was training to be a principal, and like that just made me want to be a principal. But other than that, no, not really.
And Reed, do we have you back with us yet? Okay. So, Alexys, we are back to you.
Okay.
What about being an adult? Is there anything about it that seems like, yeah, I really can't wait to be an adult?
Well, probably this doesn't really have to go into the adult, probably just like a teenager, like when you get to drive and stuff, so you can, go wherever you want.
So that part of it, like maybe being 16 or so, sounds really good to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Dalton, same thing. Like, what age are you looking forward to that's older than you are right now?
Well, I'm looking forward to turning 18 because when I'm 18, I can audition for Hamilton. Hamilton is my favorite musical. So I'm very excited to audition for that when I turn 18.
All right. So you've already got the goal there. What is it about acting that draws you into liking it? Because you have to put a lot of time for people out there listening that have never been in a play. It looks easy, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. So, what is it? What is the thrill of it that makes you willing to sacrifice all the time that you have to do in order to have a good performance?
Well, I would say it's when I am standing outside before the third production of High School Musical, and I have an old lady walk up to me and say, "I am back here just because of you."
Aw.
And it's just, hearing people talk about how good we did and how hard that they realized that it was after, because my parents, they really saw how hard it was for me. They had to take me to practice, and it was hard on them too. But I feel like that's really it's just making people happy, making people laugh, and giving them something that if somebody's having a bad experience in their life at that point, having a bad day, something that can take their mind off of that for an hour or 2 hours.
Okay, Alexis, the same question for you.
Sorry, I kind of forgot about the question. Can you repeat it again?
Yeah, sure. Like, it's a lot of work. So, what is it about performing that makes you willing to put in all the hard work?
Probably people giving me compliments, probably, and when I can make my parents proud of what I've done.
Aw, yeah. And I'm sure they are very proud of you. You've done excellent. What, Alexa, has been your favorite scene in this play or in any of the plays you performed in?
So for this play, it's probably when The part with me, Reed, and Dalton go into the forbidden door, and we like look around the classroom and look at each other and scream.
And yes, do you think, placed in that situation right now, would you go through the door with Dalton and Reed?
I guess.
Because that's sort of how your character is. Like, she doesn't think it's a good idea, but she doesn't want to be left alone, so she just follows. So I was curious if you would do that as well. Dalton, you seem to be kind of the leader. Certainly, you don't seem afraid. Would you go through the door?
100%.
What if something terrible is behind the door?
Well, then I'm gonna put up a good fight. I'll tell you that.
All right, we'll remember that so that we don't put anything horrible back there, for a joke. That would be kind of funny until it wasn't. So for you, Dalton, what's been your favorite character or scene so far?
Definitely when I get to basically just tell the kid and the teachers, because the teachers are bickering back and forth, I basically just get to say, look, I'm the boss here, and you're gonna like it or you're gonna not. I don't really care. And then I basically, I'm like, we're gonna use some of this energy in a good way. And then, the kids, the adult kids all go out and, they meet their classmates, which are the audience, and, they get to draw a picture. I think that's my favorite scene.
Is it difficult, do you think, in real life, being an adult, to be the principal versus being the teacher?
Yes, I definitely think that, because I'm actually very good friends with my principal, and sometimes, like, he just looks like he is absolutely crazy.
But not because of you, right?
No, I'm a good kid.
Did you pull any advice or characteristics from him being a real principal?
Definitely, yeah, definitely, like, me coming in there, how my favorite teacher's doing, checking up on my teachers, like, that's something that he does. And so I definitely pulled that from him, and I try to just kind of, act like him in a sense of, like, the way I'm gonna dress, basing my character off of him is really what I'm trying to say.
Interesting. All right. So, Alexys, do you have any like ritual or special thing that you do before you go on stage? Like, is there something that you just have to do before you go on stage?
Well, I necessarily don't have to do this, but sometimes when I'm about to go up on stage, my brain's just telling me, Alexys, just get this over with.
Well, good job, brain. So, does that help?
Probably not.
All right. Dalton, same thing for you. Do you have any special something that you feel like you have to do before you go on stage for luck or, for whatever?
Okay, so I actually do two things. One of them is absolutely crucial, and it's I pray. I pray that I have a good show, nothing bad or nothing happens that makes something go wrong. And then this is something that I learned that I really like to do during High School Musical. Hope we can do this here, Mystery Meets. But I like to get the whole cast together, and we get in a huddle, put our hands in the middle, and you say 1, 2, 3, Korporate Kindergarten, and then you all lift your hands like right before you go on stage. That's a big thing for me.
Awesome. And that'd make a really great video clip to go along with this episode if we can get that done.
All right.
Do you feel like that you perhaps Dalton would want a career in the arts.
Yes. I mean, that is basically the goal. I'm either going to become an actor when hopefully, like I said, when I turn 18, Hamilton, that doesn't work out. I'm going to try to become a singer. And my last resort is I'm going to become a drama teacher or a music teacher, either one. And I'm going to teach other kids the arts so that they can hopefully have the same experience that I did as a kid, being able to act. And, 'cause like I said, I never knew that I would love acting, but I did. And I didn't know that until somebody showed me the arts and taught them to me, so I hope I can show people the same experiences.
Well, you're off to a good start. I mean, you're starting as a principal. So, Alexys, do you ever consider a career in the arts when you grow up?
I'd probably do like a half-time career because I'm planning to have a main job, which might be a doctor.
Yes, I wondered if maybe you were considering that field. But you think that the arts would be something you might do on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right. I know this would be a question that would help a lot of people out there because most people deal with it from time to time. How do you deal with stage fright? So, Dalton, let's start with you.
Well, honestly, I don't. I mean, after Ellen, being on the Ellen show, my stage fright just kind of went from I had so much to now I have nothing. There's just nothing that really worries me other than, I will say this, High School Musical, there was one scene that we struggled with the whole time, and that kind of gave me a little bit of fright that something might go wrong, but never did. It always went perfectly fine. So I really don't have stage fright anymore.
So, the Ellen show, you've mentioned that a couple of times. What were you on there for? What was the subject that you got brought onto the show?
I was actually dancing in a bathtub with a sledgehammer to Justin Timberlake's brand Sexy Back. We were remodeling, and we posted it on Facebook, not really expecting anything of it. And then I was getting offers left and right to do things, and Ellen, they reached out, and who's not going to go on Ellen?
So how old were you then?
I was 8.
Okay, cool. And were you nervous? I know you said since you haven't been, but were you nervous when you went on that show?
I threw up multiple times before. From nerves.
So was Ellen, what was that like? What was she like?
So actually, I got bumped down to Twitch. I did an episode with Twitch. But Twitch was really cool. It was, he showed me around. He honestly just treated me like it was almost like I'd known him my whole life. That's kind of the vibe that he gave off.
Interesting. All right, Alexys, what advice do you have for those struggling with stage fright? How do you deal with it?
Well, for me, if I have, there's 2 ways I could do it. Because if I have, a really good family member or a really good friend that's somewhere in the show, I would just look at them or probably just look in the middle where no one is. So, I can act like that there's no one there and I'm just singing, practicing.
Right. Is it harder for you, which makes you the most nervous when you're singing or acting or playing your harp?
Probably playing my harp because my fingers could really get sweaty and I could miss some notes.
And have you ever missed a note while you were on stage?
Yes, I actually have, but I'm not really sure if anyone noticed it though.
So you just keep going.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So, we're winding down our time, but I do have a last question for you both. It's Father's Day, and we like to honor the fathers out there and your own. So, Dalton, tell us about your dad and anything you'd like to have the listeners know about his influence on you.
Well, my dad is he's a great man. He's a school resource officer, so he's around kids 24/7, protecting us, and so actually my dad, his name is Dalton Dailey. He is not my biological father. I don't know who that is. I don't really care because I have been adopted by by Adam, and so he is my dad. He has taken me in and just been the best person. He has influenced me in so many good ways. He's taught me things. He's taught me how to hunt, taught me how to fish, basically taught me everything I need to know. And still to this day, he's teaching me things. Like just couple weeks ago, we worked on a deck. He taught me how to build a deck. He's teaching me life lessons. And I'm really glad that I have that.
Awesome. Well, that is quite the tribute, don't you think, Matt?
Yes, definitely. Always good to hear kids talking, speaking well of their parents.
Yeah. All right, Alexis. So, tell us about your dad and the influence that he has on you.
So my dad is a really, really nice person, but I'm not really sure if he has a mad side or not. So really, he's always told me to keep your fingers and hands moving. So like, you can always practice your strength.
Awesome. So, is that advice that you take, I imagine?
Yeah, so probably in the future, whenever I have to fix something, like if my hands get tired, I can always remember that my dad told me to keep my hands moving, so probably that'll help me if my hands are hurting.
Yeah. And that is, I don't know, Matt. Have you ever had that happen where you had to, push through with your mind because your hands were tired of working?
Yeah, I mean, I work at my computer all day long and, I'm constantly doing stuff. So, yeah, it certainly comes in handy. I have a question for you both. Alexis, I'll start with you. What, what would be the best role that you could play? Is there like some character or some type of character that you want to play someday?
Probably like the main character, which like probably leads the story, and yeah.
Okay. What about you, Dalton? Anybody? I know you mentioned Hamilton, but is there anyone else that you want to play someday?
Well, obviously, I'd like to play Alexander Hamilton, but I think that it'd be awesome to play Beetlejuice.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
What about, do you have like a favorite actor?
Yes. Okay. So John Candy is my favorite actor.
Oh, he was awesome.
And second favorite is Austin Butler because of the Elvis movie. I'm a really big Elvis fan.
Ah,
Really enjoy.
cool.
Shout out to Sammy.
Exactly. Sure.
And Alexis, what about you? Do you have a favorite actor or actress?
I actually do not have a favorite actor or actress.
Okay, that's fine. All right, Kat, you got one time for one more.
Time for one more question. Okay. So, Dalton, I'll ask you the question. about writing, playwriting. What, what type of play do you think you would be best at writing? Like, are you, action, mystery? What would it be like?
Probably action would be just because,
Or even a musical, since you're, musically talented too.
yeah, definitely a musical. I feel like a musical would be very, very easy for me to write.
I can see you doing that someday. I think you have good skills for that. So that would be really great. And, Tri-County Mystery Meets would be loving to perform a good musical that you might write. So,
All right, I'll start working on it now, because it can get better over the year.
all right. And so, Alexys, your question I'm going to ask is a different one since it's my last one. You're a Taylor Swift fan, I hear. So, if you could go on stage with Taylor, what song would you want to sing with her?
Like, do you mean like what type of Taylor Swift song would I like to sing with her?
And if you could sing any song with her song or anyone else's, what song would you love to sing with her on stage?
I'd probably sing Enchanted, which is by her. It's because it's my favorite song, and it's like, yeah, I just like it.
Awesome. So you think it'd be pretty cool to sing with Taylor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see you guys up there on stage. Well, this has been a joy. Last word will be, why should people see Corporate Kindergarten? Like, what if I'm out there thinking, well, this is just about kids. I'm an adult. Why should I go see it? What would you say, Dalton?
Well, because it's hilarious. The time and effort that we're putting into this is, I'm going to say right now, I think that it's going to be the best show that I have ever been in, because it's so funny, and there's so many moments where I am going to have to struggle to contain myself on stage from just busting out laughing.
Me too. All right, Alexys, same question. Tell the audience, why should they come?
So I'd probably tell them to come because if they did come, it would probably give them a chance to go back in kindergarten to see how like how the adult kids would be like if they went back to kindergarten.
Awesome. Well, I think we've had two fabulous and almost three fabulous guests, I'm going to say, with us today, Matt. So we're very fortunate.
Yes, it's always fun to talk to you, the actors in your plays, and, it's kind of sad that Reed couldn't stay with us, but hopefully we'll get him on later. So thank you guys for coming by and talking to us. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I really enjoyed it.
All right. Any last words, Kat?
No?
All right. Then
Fun.
thanks again, guys. We really appreciate it.
Reed and Corporate Kindergarten, you and Dalton and Alexys are portraying adults, yet you're not adults yourselves. But you are at that point where, you're almost midways of being from kindergarten and being an adult. So, what are the challenges of playing an age that you have never been yet in real life?
Well, all my life I've been an old soul, and I used to say I was born in 1940, but all through my life I've acted like preachers, I've acted like presidents, and I've acted like so many adults through my life, and I think that's helped me for this part, to be an adult, and I hang around with adults mostly, probably more than kids, but I I love acting like adult, and I can't wait to be one day.
What is it about being an adult that you are looking forward to?
Starting a family. I really want to start a family. Yes, I am a family person, and that's something I've always looked forward to because I want to have my own little kids and grandkids, and I love babies. I love babies. Starting a family, definitely ready for that.
So how many kids are you hoping for? Do you have that part too?
I want 2 boys and 2 girls, so each kid can say they have a brother and a sister, both a brother and a sister. And the math is kind of confusing, but once you figure it out, you'll realize it.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have one half brother. His name is Jeremy, and he's 30. And yeah, last week we kept his. Let's see how old she is. Tomorrow she will be 11 months, and we kept her about a week or 2 ago, and I love her so much. Her name is Elliotte, named after me and Jeremy's great grandmother.
Well, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Well, if you have the chance, since you're looking so forward to being an adult, but if you had the chance to go back to kindergarten, as a kindergartner,
Yeah.
For a day, would you do it?
That's a hard question because during my kindergarten, while I was in kindergarten, I was in the hospital a lot.
Right.
Because that's when I had cancer. But probably with all the friends I had then, yes. Because I had a lot of friends then.
Well, and so that definitely makes a unique kindergarten experience. So when you're acting, do any of the characters, without giving too much of a plot away, but are there any of the characters that you feel like are going through, something difficult?
Like in the play?
Yes.
Let's see. I would say Audrey, because she's rushing to get to her nail appointment and stuff. She's so stressed about that. So I would say her.
Yep, that is a big challenge.
Yeah.
So how do you balance, the responsibilities, making time to learn your lines and your songs and, then your outside life and your school life and your church life? Like, how do you find balance to do all of these things that you do?
By the grace of God. That's all it is. But for like learning my script and learn my songs and stuff, I would divide time up, Like, for example, if I'm like watching a TV show during commercials, I'll do that or like sometimes I'll probably put a timer on my phone for one thing and then after that do another thing, So that's how I do it.
Now, you're quite the talent. Not only do you act, but you play instruments and you sing. So tell me a little bit about those skills and, when did you pick up playing guitar and singing and all of that?
Yeah. Well, when I was 9 years old, it was a Saturday morning, and me and my dad went to my mama's because he had to mow her lawn, and we were probably there about an hour and a half. She has a piano, and I started picking at it. The next day, I was playing in church, and that is
Really?
Yes. I'm a big Laura Lynn fan, so I was at her granddaughter's concert, Taylor Lynn. Her and Conway Twitty's grandson, Trey Twitty, have a duo called Twitty and Lynn, and sometimes when I'm at their concerts, they'll have me go up there and sing with them. But anyway, I met a friend. His name is Jeff Ross, and we gave him our contact and mailing address, and he sent me a Laura Lynn guitar. So, and then by that night, I was already playing songs. That night I got it. And it was actually the day of my dad's election day when he won sheriff of Whitley County. And then the omnichord, that is an old electric instrument that's what my Papa Bill played. I never got to meet him because he died about 6 years before I was born. But that's what he played, and I just started playing on that. And then I love Gene Carter and Johnny Cash too. And so for my birthday, I got an auto harp, the kind that Gene Carter plays. And so that, yeah, so that's the instruments I play. So, and I love doing it. And then this August, I'll be singing at the Tennessee State Fair.
And is that held in Knoxville or where is that going to be?
I'm not for sure yet.
Yeah.
We're going to see. And then last week, I sung at the choir at the Grand Ole Opry. It was at the Grand Ole Opry house, but it's an event they do called Sunday Morning Country. And some of my friends that are in the choir asked me to come with them and invite and sing with them. And so I had the pleasure of doing that. And it's been really nice. And then last December, I sung at the Midnight Jamboree, the Ernest Tubb Midnight Jamboree.
Well, so music, it seems like it's just a natural thing for you, that you just have a natural ability. Have you taken any lessons, or is this all you just do this by ear and you just pick up?
Just by ear.
Wow.
Just by ear. I've never had a lesson. And it's all by the grace of God, you know. I'm thankful to have these talents.
Sure. And it sounds like, you're making good use of them too.
Yes.
So, do you have career aspirations in the entertainment field, or do you plan to go another route?
When I'm an adult, I'll probably keep doing this, but then I also want to get into politics, and I want to become politics. And then this world is so bad how it is today that I want to help it. So that's why I want to, in 2048, I want to try to get a seat as the president in 2048, because I just want to help this country, and everyone's so divided as a nation now. And it's ridiculous, and I just want to reunite everyone. But for my retirement job, I would like to work at the funeral home.
Wow, that's a big jump there. What would you like to do at the funeral home?
It don't matter. I like to help people, and during the summers, I work with my distant cousin at Cox and Son Funeral Home in Jellicoe, and I'll welcome people at the door. I'll lead people wherever they need to be, So just stuff like that, and I love doing it. That's one thing. Whatever I do, I love to do.
It sounds like you're a helper to people, like that you really like being a humanitarian.
Yes.
Well, I know that I read you have met 3 presidents. So tell us about that. Who were they, and what was your impression?
All right. So this is a funny story right here. September 28th, 2019, we drove down to Plains, Georgia for Jimmy Carter's Sunday school teaching. And it was he only taught one more time after that. And that night, when we got to Plains, Georgia, it was around 10:15, I wanted to go by the church. And so we went by church, and we saw there was a few people in the parking lot. We pulled in, and the man, his name is George now. His name is George, and we didn't know him then, but now he's one of my closest friends. But we pulled in, we said, "Hello, sir. How come there's people here tonight?" He said, "Well, President Carter's teaching Sunday school." We said, "Yeah, we know that, but how come there's people here tonight?" And he said, "Oh, they're lining up. They're lining up for the Sunday school tomorrow morning." And we're like, this tonight? And he said, "If you're not here by 3 a.m, you won't even get in the sanctuary. You probably won't even get in the church." And we're just so shocked. So we pulled in the parking lot. We spent the night there. We brushed our teeth on the ground and stuff. And my mom said, "I can't believe I just made a president without a shower." But we sat on the 3rd row. President Carter's Sunday school lesson was about loving your enemies. And it was a wonderful lesson. And and I got to take a picture with him and his wife Rosalind, and he and her both are such wonderful people and such nice people. And I've developed a friendship with all the family and friends down there, and I'm thankful for that. So let's fast forward to 2022. One Saturday morning, my dad, he was just joking with me. We thought it was just from the library itself. But Dad said, "Reed, there's a letter from George W. Bush." He was just joking he was just joking, but we thought it was a letter from the library. It was actually him, Senator Mitch McConnell, told him about me, and he said he wanted to meet me. And we were like, "Oh my gosh, is it true or not?" And he gave us his assistant's number. And so on Monday we called, and they said, "Oh yeah, we've been expecting your call."
Wow.
Yeah. So we scheduled a day, and then we drove down to Dallas, Texas, as his presidential library, at the institute behind it. Anyway, Secret Service people were leading us to his office. That's where the meeting was going to be held. And we were getting into the outside area of the office, and we walked in, and there he was, just standing there, and he said, "Reed!" And, it was such a shock and such excitement at the same time. And then my mom went, "Oh!" right out loud. But we got to spend 30 minutes with him and Laura in his office, and it was just absolutely amazing. And he gave me one of his paintings, and him and Laura signed it, and it was just absolutely incredible. And he is such a very nice man, such a wonderful family, and very nice family. So, since I had cancer, I could do Make-A-Wish, the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So I said I wanted to meet all presidents, and they said you can only pick one. I said I want to do Trump, but they said he wasn't going to do it till this year, and this was last year. So I said, okay, I want to do Clinton. So we got Clinton, and we met him at Institute in Nashville on March 5th, 2023. And we had a 45-minute private meeting with him, and he was 30 minutes late to another meeting.
Good for you.
The Secret Service was trying to get him to come on. They're like, "Mr. Clinton, we gotta go." He just ignored them. And Mom said that one of the agents said to them, "He's just loving talking to Reed." And after that, I got to hand out produce with him and Chelsea, his daughter, at a different location. But it was just wonderful. So thankful to have these privileges,
Yes. Well, these are such great stories of your meetings with them. So, I like that you've met a variety of ages and, parties and
Yeah.
and their families as well. And he'll really, I could see how he would enjoy speaking with you.
Thank you.
Now, why should people come to see this play of Korporate Kindergarten?
Well, for one thing, it'll be family entertainment, and it'll be funny watching kids be adults and adults act like little kindergartners, It'll just be so fun, and it'll definitely be a comedy. It's such a comedy, and we don't get a lot of that nowadays, and I feel like we need more of that, and so just come on. So it's such a wonderful play, and I love it so much.
Well, and I have a final question for you.
Yes.
I had like a whole episode talking to you, but my final question is, it's Father's Day.
Yes.
So what would you say about your dad? What is a characteristic that you admire, or just what would you want the listeners to know about your dad?
Hard worker. He is a hard worker. He is out sheriffing 85 hours a week, and I'm not exaggerating on that. He truly is. But he is such a very hard worker, and he wants to help the people, and I love that about him. And I want to say Happy Father's Day to everyone out there. And love you, Dad.